While it is important for a remake to be faithful to the original, that's not to say certain improvements can't or shouldn't be made as well. Though there are titles with wonderfully unique art styles that'd look brilliant if they were lovingly remade, there are others that would massively benefit from a longer campaign, for instance. Then there are those that simply deserve another chance to be appreciated, being largely overlooked the first time around. Whatever the case, we've got a great list here for you of some of the games that really deserve to be looked at again. I'm Jess from WhatCulture, and here are 10 hidden gem video games that would really benefit from remakes. Number 10. Dungeon Keeper. A strategy title of 1990s Bullfrog fame, Dungeon Keeper is a PC experience like none other. The game's tagline, "It's good to be bad," is fitting indeed, as it flips the traditional roles on their heads. Rather than beating back horrific invaders bent on overrunning the land, the player must instead attract an army of dark creatures to their dungeons, train them, and lead them against the defenders. Building different rooms attracts different types of creatures, and so there's considerable strategy in selecting which ones you build, how large to build them, and how to lay everything out so your hordes can get where they need to be easily. There are spells to research in the library, doors and traps to manufacture in the workshop, and more besides. A true remake would do wonders for this forgotten classic. Online matchmaking, the ability to easily create and share custom dungeons and map layouts, new and increasingly ghastly minion designs, and campaign options, there could be a huge amount of content there. Dungeon Keeper fans for whom the cancellation of the third game still rankles deserve better. Better than the microtransaction-hungry mobile reboot, at least. Number 9. Oddworld Strangers Wrath. The Oddworld titles pride themselves on providing unique spins on familiar genres, and fascinating mechanics all their own. A particular cult favorite among them is Oddworld Strangers Wrath, an FPS of sorts starring a bounty hunter named only as Stranger. To make the cash he's in town to claim to pay for a mysterious medical procedure he's in need of, Stranger pursues his bounties using a unique crossbow that fires a range of different tiny creatures, dubbed live ammo, that are found in the environments. Among them are bolamites, spiders that trap foes in webs to be captured, and boom bats that are fired like a rocket launcher. Stranger's Wrath, or Wrath if you'd rather me say Wrath, did receive an HD edition release in December 2011, but it's a title that would be a perfect fit for a remake. Being a pretty brief experience, the concept could be expanded in various ways, like including more bounties, more live ammo choices to dispatch them with, and maybe even an open world. The idea of hunting such critters in the wild to collect your ammo in a sort of bizarre Red Dead Redemption way is an engaging one indeed. Number 8. Madw. Vicious, bloody violence and beauty don't tend to go hand in hand, but Madw is a very unique case. A 2009 Wii release, this action title is focused around the fictitious Death Watch game show, which has taken over Vagrant City. As Jack Cayman, the player must triumph in grisly brawls using improvised weapons, environmental hazards, and bare fists alike. The scoring system rewards creativity and an understanding of the mechanics and environments alike if you want to perform well. A remake, quite apart from simply giving it another chance with a new audience, could make its signature monochrome visuals really pop, and would be a sight to behold on a current-gen system. In addition, the arena combat format means all new scenarios and challenges could be added, perhaps as DLC. Number 7. Konami Crazy Racers. There aren't many series that define a whole genre quite the way that Mario Kart does. No other kart racers really hit that high, but it'd be unfair to say there aren't other great examples of the genre you can enjoy. Many have never heard of Konami Crazy Racers, and even fewer will remember it well, but it was a solid title. A 2001 Game Boy Advance release, Konami Crazy Racers revolves around a racing tournament between characters from the wide Konami stable. This means players are treated to the spectacle of Metal Gear's Grey Fox, Castlevania's Dracula, Gradius's Vic Viper, and other company icons in a kart racer. With tracks inspired by the series at hand, interesting minigames, and a unique power-up system, where at power-up zones on the tracks, players can choose between items that offer speed boosts or the usual random choice from a range of rather conventional weapons, there was a lot to enjoy here. Crucially, the core racing is tight and fun as well. Mobile sequel Crazy Kart Racing aside, the series hasn't really been heard from since. With a wealth of new Konami content to borrow from and an expansion on the concept of the minigames, a remake could be a sizable package and a more than viable alternative to Mario Kart. Number 6. Gunstar Heroes. Treasure's run-and-gun shooter was released for the Mega Drive in 1993. In it, Gunstars Blue and Red must travel to various areas, whereupon they'll try to combat the forces of the Dastardly Empire. Advocates for classic shooters remember the game for its unique weapon system, in which 4 different types of weapon orb, Flame, Lightning, Force, and Chaser, could be utilized in any combination of 2. Doubling up on the same one would enhance its potency, while adding, for instance, Chaser to Flame, would result in bursts of fire that homed in on foes. A similar system was utilized in the later Alien Soldier, which retained the sci-fi aesthetic and wide range of bizarre enemies that would become Treasure staples. Gunstar Heroes would see later ports to other systems, including as part of Nintendo 3DS's 3D Classics range. A true remaster for next-gen systems, though, would enhance the game in countless ways. Not only could its intense action be dialed up even further, but the effects to match. Multiple layers of scrolling and detail have worked wonders for the likes of the Octopath Traveler games, and Gunstar Heroes would be a fantastic showcase for what retro pixelated titles can really do. Further, there's the opportunity to make the game longer than before, expanding on the already brief campaign. Number 5. Hogs of War. For many gamers, the world of humorous animal-centric warfare has long been monopolized by one particular type of creature: worms. 1995's Worms was one of those special formulas that proved to be huge, iconic hits from the off. 5 years later, Infogrames released an unusual twist on the concept: PC and PS1 strategy title Hogs of War. The player, after selecting a nation to represent, embarks on a war across the realm of Australasia. The world's militaries are fighting for control of the most important resource of all: swill. To triumph in almost 30 missions and reach this goal, players need to manage their squad carefully and use the promotional points awarded in battle to upgrade their pigs. Promotional paths include Sapper, close-range damage dealers that drop TNT and the like, and Orderly, essentially battlefield medics. The turn-based gameplay is very much akin to that of Worms 3D, being 3D of course, but with the added element of squad customization and the unique abilities it offers. With its mission structure, Hogs of War is very much open to being expanded in a remake. It could even take branching paths akin to the Fire Emblem series, and different nations could be added. Online multiplayer would be a pivotal addition too, modernizing the title and making it far less reliant on its single-player component. Number 4. Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood. Sonic the Hedgehog, in all his high-speed glory, may not seem like the most natural fit for a turn-based RPG. Standing in place and waiting his turn? Not likely, you would have thought. On one occasion though, the Blue Blur did star in such an RPG, and a solid one at that. This BioWare title launched on the Nintendo DS in 2008, and starred the familiar cast, Amy, Tails, the rest of the gang, as well as the enigmatic new Shade. The Nocturnus tribe of angry echidnas is bent on domination of the galaxy, under its leader, Ix, which means Sonic and Eggman have a shared enemy and joined forces. The party is highly customizable thanks to their differing range of abilities, the chow they can equip, and more. At the same time, they remain faithful to their familiar incarnations. For example, Amy has a range of hammer attacks. The Dark Brotherhood was a bold stab at an entirely new genre for the series, and it's a shame it's largely been forgotten. The intended sequels never came to pass, but perhaps they could if the original game received a remake. Bright and beautiful new visuals could bring the game to a whole new audience, and the stylus-centric controls could be revised too. Number 3. Vagrant Story. Square Enix, of course, is one of the biggest names in RPG development. The beloved Final Fantasy series is just one of the genre highlights the company's had a hand in. 2000's PlayStation release Vagrant Story is another, and a deep and involved one at that. As Ashley Riot, a risk breaker of the Valendia Knights of the Peace, you need to venture through the city of Leamont, a grim place haunted by the reanimated bodies of the dead. The enigmatic Mullenkamp group resides here, and Ashley discovers all manner of ghastly secrets about their activities as he proceeds through the underbelly of the city. Vagrant Story's combat is rather more nuanced than that of a lot of action RPGs. Different body parts of enemies can be targeted and will be weak to different types of damage. Enemy types in general are also an important consideration, meaning a lot of time will be spent customizing weapons through upgrades and combining parts to ensure you'll be effective against any foes you face. The dark storybook aesthetic of Vagrant Story, along with its complexity, means there's a lot to enjoy here. Many forgotten RPGs have got a nice remake years after the fact, and this one really deserves one too. Number 2. Dashin the Giant. The god game genre is one that's seen some truly iconic titles. 2001's Black and White, for instance, lent a fantastic moral element to the player's actions as they expanded and developed their realms. 2 years before that though, on the 64DD in Japan, Dashin the Giant was exploring similar notions in an even more unique way. Unlike in many god games, the player takes the role of Dashin and controls him in a direct manner. In this way, Dashin explores the open landscape where he can interact with the villagers who live there as he sees fit. Love and hate can both be accrued from them, depending on whether you're tending to their needs and keeping them happy, or unleashing largely unwarranted fiery fury upon them. Just achieve your objectives, however you'd like to go about it. Dashin the Giant arrived on the GameCube in 2002, and is perhaps one of the most fascinating cult releases in the system's history. Its adorable cartoon visuals would hugely benefit from a remake. Its campaign could be expanded, and most importantly, it could garner itself the audience that it sorely deserves. Number 1. Wario Land, the Shake Dimension. Wario is more frequently seen today starring in the WarioWare series, where there are Mad Cat microgame compilations. However, he also has an impressive resume in the platforming genre. 2008 Wii released Wario Land, the Shake Dimension perhaps isn't the best known of his platformers, but it's a unique adventure indeed. The titular Shake Dimension is a world accessed through a globe of the world. Wario enters the dimension not out of fear for its occupants who are being menaced by the Shake King, but in the hope of finding treasure inside. The ultimate treasure, no less, the fabled bottomless coin sack. The setup, an adventure inspired by Wario's greed, is nothing new. The game is tailored around the use of the Wii remote though, and the focus on motion controls, shaking bags of cash to retrieve coins from them, aiming and throwing objects and enemies, gives the title a visceral feeling. On top of that, it's a creative and varied platform adventure through wonderful and beautiful 2D worlds. It looked fantastic in 2008 and could offer some of the most stunning 2D visuals in the Switch's library if it made a return. It'd also be a great opportunity to make the main campaign a little longer, which is a primary gripe with the original.